Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Fireside Chat featuring Harrie. I'm sure everyone is aware of who you are, but I'll present you once again, of course, for those who are the new listeners. Harrie is the docs lead at NodeOps and co-contributor at NodeOps Network. We tend to have these kind of fireside chats when we have some exciting developments in the pipeline, and this time is actually no different. Today's session will aim to address what's been going on within the NodeOps Network lately, give some alpha on some of the new products that are soon to go live, and just provide additional context on essentially what's been going on in the NodeOps network and what's brewing, let's just say. So buckle up, as you're not going to want to miss this. That said, let's delve into it. First things first, Harrie, thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Why don't we start by addressing what's been going on right within the NodeOps network at a high level, and then we'll delve into the specific.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, so it's been a busy time on the NodeOps side. There's been a lot going on since we last chatted. I think one of the most noticeable changes that people will have observed is we've got a new website, and that has pulled together our diverse product suite. So it's always a challenge when you're addressing so many audiences, but that's deliberate. So now it should be more obvious where we are serving retail, which of course we do with the console, and that is the core product that NodeOps launched with. And now, of course, with the expansion into deep in compute, we're serving solo devs and software development houses, Web 2, Web 3 app developers with some easy to access generalized compute. And of course, we've got our enterprise level services that's more kind of bespoke and B2B, but there's some description of them on the website now so people can get an understanding of what we do. So that was a huge project, touched so many parts of the company, and I really like the look. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but go check it out if you want to see some awesome graphics and see what our amazing front end team have been up to. Yeah. And then part of the reason we're having this chat, I guess, is to kind of let everybody know that there's new services coming.
Right.
And of course, we actually launched a new service since we last chatted, which is that we've got Staking Hub live. So if you're sitting on any of the supported tokens and you want to understand how to make them work for you, you don't have to just hodl and keep them in a wallet. You can actually go and earn some APY on that. And the great thing about this staking app is that you also earn node points alongside the revenue that the protocols give you.
Absolutely, I couldn't have said it better. And of course, like the users have been able to, like who users on the testnet have been able to see on the left side of the screen that one of the coming soon features and new products is the security hub. Right? Would you be able to provide some context on this new exciting development? Which I'm sure that this episode we're recording today is Friday. It'll go live on Monday, and next week this is actually when we'll be able to announce the security hub to the world. But yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for folks to get an understanding of what it is, and why don't we start with the problem statement for the security hub?
Sure. So Security Hub is a one-stop shop for developers, like whether you're a solo developer or whether you're DevOps and you're responsible for keeping a clean code base, whether you're actually got a working app. One of the challenges is that there's a there's a tendency for malicious actors to want to exploit any
Right.
vulnerabilities. And so there's some wonderful open source projects that actually collate some of these known vulnerabilities. As soon as somebody figures out that a vulnerability exists, those databases are updated. But that doesn't then reflect automatically to somebody being informed that the code that they're relying on, the tech stack that they're relying on, is safe, and they don't get an alert, basically. So quite often what developers do is they'll rely on CLI tools, which means they're actually having to run them, or maybe they include those in CI/CD, which means
Right.
they update some code and the tool will run when they're actually asking for that pull request to be done to update the code. But if the vulnerability is not known at the time that happens, then of course that code can be shipped. And then in the meantime, somebody understands a new way to exploit something that then can be catastrophic for the apps that rely on it. And so there's this kind of like friction in how people secure their code bases. And this is what Security Hub actually solves for. So as is so typical of our team, they basically they're so obsessed with UX that basically if they have struggled with something and fixed it, they're going to bring you that solution in an
So
at a
true.
click, easy to use manner, because they're just obsessed with it. It's like they will struggle so you don't have to. So it's as simple as putting in the URL to the resource that you need to scan, and with some lovely built-in features. So, for example, if the vulnerability is discovered after you've updated your code base, then you can actually be alerted to the vulnerability having been found. You can set up email alerts, and you can set up that the code is rescanned at regular intervals, so that you are not the last to know when something catastrophic or potentially malicious has entered the code base. And
Right.
what our non-dev audience might not realize is that there's a lot of developers are not coding from scratch. They go and they use libraries and resources that already exist, and they tap
Right.
into those. So there's no one person. It's gone beyond the ability of one person to control what's happening. Your dependencies can have dependencies that you're not even thinking about or aware of. So it's gone beyond the ability of a human mind. For a long time, it's got to be automated to some extent. And this takes it like to the next level,
Right.
where not only are you getting the scan, you've also got an AI agent allowing you to quickly it summarizes for you and quickly examines what the potential exploits might be and gives you a report on that. So you get this lovely detailed report. You understand what the options are to be able to fix your vulnerabilities, and that's all accessible from a very intuitive user dashboard, because of course this team's obsessed with the UX, so they've simplified it absolutely down to the minimum of input that you need to do.
Wonderfully put. And I think one way to summarize it, right, as me and you have been discussing this week, is if you had to attach a tagline to this the new product, right, which is the Security Hub, is that prevention is everything, right? And you can come for a free scan because it'll be free. So prevention is everything. It's just like with the health checkups, right? So I think this applies also to this context, right? You want to know beforehand that you're vulnerable before others know that you are, right? So that you're able to prevent it. I think that's a very relatable message, right?
Totally agree. That is key. You don't want to be the last to know that there's potentially an exploitable issue in your code base. And of course, I'm totally bullish on any of these products that we're shipping, because what it's doing is, of course, this is driving the compute demand on our, at the moment, testnet marketplace. So this is important. When people look at the product suite and go, wait a minute, you're going from retail all the way through to enterprise, what's going on here? Remember that it's really important, especially to a nascent deep in compute marketplace. Demand is everything, and so yet
Absolutely.
another product drives further compute demand, so that our compute providers are seeing those workloads running on their machines, are understanding where they can expect to earn rewards in the future on mainnet. So this is all part and package of the strategy for launching this coming soon mainnet deep in.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better also on that front. And you mentioned providers, right, which is a key category, right, and stakeholder that is part of the NodeOps network family, you could say, right? It's something that is pertinent to them, but also the wider NodeOps network family, let's just say, is templates, right? It's something that we've touched on, I think, here and there in the past with a blog. Would you be able to start by sort of defining them and then, just provide an update on what's new on that front, if possible, please?
Yeah, so the compute provider, of course, is there because they want workloads to be run on the machines. That's how they're going to earn rewards. So one of the ways we're simplifying how people then consume the compute is with this templatized infrastructure. It's not easy to say.
It's a mouthful.
So the idea is that you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to worry about setting up a virtual machine and worrying about the intricacies of setting up ports and public access and load bearing and all the other considerations that somebody working in the cloud might do. Instead of doing that at the machine level, it's done at the workload level, so that the actual template that you set up says, will there be ports accessible to the public? How much resources is this workload allowed to consume? Do we have a minimum? Do we have a maximum? So all the variables that you might want to be able to configure your workload with are set up in a templatized form. So what the DevOps team have obviously struggled with in the past, so of course they're removing these frictions from people, is you've got to worry about things like denial of service attacks. So every template just instantly is automatically within the existing Cloudflare DDoS setup. You get a permanent link for deployments for publicly exposed services. Normally, you'd have to worry about exposing instances and maybe setting up DNS records. So this is all abstracted away. The SSL certificate is automatically set up and renewed. So there's like these removal of frictions that swallow so much time when people are setting up infrastructure from scratch. And then the templates themselves are very specialized to the use case. So you could be somebody who's working in Python and you're going to go set up a Jupyter notebook. You could be somebody who wants to run a Web3 node like NodeOps so often does on the console side of things. And you want to have certain configurations so that your node runs in a certain format that you want. Maybe you want a full node. Maybe you just want a fast node. Like this is how you define it, is at the template level.
That's perfect. No better way to actually make it intuitive for common earthlings, right? It took me a while at the beginning. And for interested developers, right, as a target audience specifically for this question, what can these folks expect, right, to be able to build on NodeOps going forward?
That's a very tough question, because actually the world is your oyster. So we're really excited to see what the community is going to come up with, because the community is just endlessly creative. So what's going to happen is if you submit a template for review with NodeOps and it's accepted onto the marketplace, then there'll actually be a reward for that contribution. So it's going to be very interesting to see the variety of use cases that the community comes up with, both in templates that they think are worth submitting and in any demand side where people are requesting templates or making their templates available because this is the use case they're interested in. So it's going to be really interesting as things kick off to see where the community takes it.
Totally. I love that message, right? The only limit is your imagination, right? And at the end of the day, that's sort of what's amazing, I think, for me, and the speed at which the team is able to ship new products, is that through deployable infrastructure, right, you're able to facilitate and enable folks to actually power whatever solution they actually see fit, right? Which is amazing. So another development that I wanted to sort of touch on with you is that what's the status on the buy/rent a machine flow? Is there any news on that or not?
Okay, so yes, that is in beta testing now. So what we're doing is we're preparing for this transition to mainnet, and at the moment, providers are seeing that there's workload scheduled on the machines on testnet. And what's happening is we've got, of course, beta testers who are running their templates, which are creating workloads. And we've got our own console service, which is a retail-facing service for running nodes, running on the compute. So the actual consuming, like using templates and consuming that compute, that essentially buy a machine or rent the compute power from a machine from a provider, is in beta testing through these different services that are currently running on it. So it will be opening up to the public, but we definitely want battle testing and more templates there ready so that infrastructure setup is simplified. So we want a greater range there before we go public with that.
Undoubtedly. And I mean, this is a testament once again to the how prolific, I think is the right term, the backend team, but not only, right, just the product team in general. There isn't really a product team; it's more like a the team that is working both on the product, the backend, and the front end. I think it's one united front. Is that they've also been working on another product, which is the agent terminal, right, which is also under coming soon on the left side of your testnet, which I'm sure you've seen for the users that are completing the quests and everything. Would you be able to, without touching any timelines, of course, would you be able to provide some updates on that, a quick primer also for folks who are not aware of what the agent terminal actually is?
Yeah, so for our listeners, if you haven't discovered it already, it's there, as you say, in the marketplace dashboard as a coming soon. But we do have beta testers for whom that is accessible. So they get the full experience. And what it provides is a collaborative IDE. So they can together, wherever they are in the world, they can collaborate over code development that they're doing. The use case that we're testing at the moment is to set up agents. So we've got a couple of really enthusiastic developers who are belting through. They're configuring templates for their own use
Right.
cases because that fits together then with what you can run in the compute marketplace. And so we're hoping to bring you really soon some examples of the agents they've set up and that they're running on our testnet compute. Of course, if you think about it, the compute won't differ any between testnet and mainnet. It's just the economic incentives that differ and how many providers we expect to see. So at the moment, the incentives are in terms of node points for the providers. And of course, as we transition to mainnet, that will change. Yeah. So we're trying to make sure that the providers that are there now are seeing these meaningful workloads because we're doing this testing and demand. But of course, this is
Of
just the
course.
start of the demand we expect to see.
I mean, exciting times ahead. It would be a euphemism slash understatement, right? These fireside chats, I would love for them to last longer, but the whole point behind this format is to get straight to the point. So, as a concluding remark, right? Take this answer in whichever direction you want. Is where do you actually see the NodeOps network in 12 months' time? More like, how do you think it'll actually look like right further down the line? It could be 12 months, 6 months, you decide the time frame, but it's I'd love to hear your answer.
Well, I wouldn't like to put any pressure on an already busy development team, so let's
Right.
call it a year from now and say, like, is that it's there as instead of being a nascent product, instead of being a protocol that we're battle testing and discussing, we expect to see a fully functional protocol running on an L3. So we'll be in mainnet with the protocol providing that code as king service, ensuring that compute providers can onboard, that they've staked, and that fully supporting the ecosystem participants who are going to validate that the providers are providing the service they need and provide that the data that's required if you're going to go ahead with any slashing. So, of course, I'd like to see that template hub is further built out because we're going to have had so many users come in interested in either a bounty for creating the template or they've set up templates that they want to see in play. So yeah, but if we're looking 12 months down the line, fully functioning protocol, I can probably tease that in terms of getting those ecosystem participants in play, we're looking at letting the UNO holders become the first ecosystem participants who do the
Of course.
validation side. So that would be the node watchers to actually be in the position of oversight and
Right.
providing that verifiable data of whether providers are providing the service that they attest to being able to provide and that those workloads are running. So hopefully in less than 12 months we'll be looking at our UNO holders as node watchers as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. I look forward to reviewing this in like 6 months time to see whether, like, do like a screenshot, right, of where we're at compared to your prediction, or in 12 months time. Well, my bet is that it will be deployed before then, considering the how prolific the development team is. But yeah, let's see. Exciting times ahead. Just we're proud to have all those listeners and all the participants, right, and contributors to the NodeOps network along this journey with us. There's exciting times ahead, and yeah, we can't wait to reveal more to you. And of course, thanks for tuning in. Harrie, is there any concluding thought that you'd like to leave the listeners with? Now is the time for you.
It's a great time to come and provide compute. So you've been sitting on the sidelines, or if you did it initially and you're like, where were the workloads? I don't understand this. There are demand side workloads now in place with the further products that we're launching very shortly. There will be further demand. So if you came, you dipped your toe and you weren't sure what's going on, I don't understand, I put a machine here, nothing's happening. That was very early stage testnet. We're in a much more mature stage testnet now. Bring your machine, see if you get a workload running on it, earn yourself some node points, and be first in line as we transition over to mainnet.
Awesome. No better note to end it on. Let's go. Thanks again, Harrie.
Thank you.